Have you ever wondered what really keeps a car moving safely down the road? Most people think the engine is the only thing that matters. But the truth is, a modern car is made up of thousands of components working together in perfect harmony. If just one critical part fails, even the most expensive vehicle can become completely unusable. Today, we're exploring the 15 most important parts of a car, and why each one plays a vital role in keeping every journey safe, smooth, and reliable. Let's begin with the heart of every automobile. The engine. The engine converts fuel into mechanical power through thousands of controlled explosions happening every single minute. This power is what moves the vehicle forward. Whether it's powered by gasoline or diesel, without a functioning engine, a car simply cannot move under its own power. However, generating power is only half the story. The engine's power must be transferred efficiently to the wheels, and that's where the transmission comes in. The transmission changes gear ratios depending on the vehicle's speed, allowing the engine to operate efficiently while delivering the right amount of power exactly when it's needed. Without it, driving would be slow, inefficient, and incredibly difficult. Before the engine can even start, another essential component has already gone to work. The battery supplies the electrical energy needed to crank the engine during startup. It also powers many electronic systems, including the headlights, dashboard, radio, sensors, and safety features. Even if the engine is perfectly healthy, a dead battery means your journey won't even begin. Now imagine driving without the ability to stop. That's why the braking system is one of the most important safety features in any vehicle. Brake pads, brake discs, calipers, and brake fluid all work together to slow down and stop the car within seconds. A properly maintained braking system can prevent accidents and save lives every day. But stopping safely also depends on something many people overlook. The tires are the only parts of the car that actually touch the road. All acceleration, braking, and steering forces are transferred through 4 small contact patches, no larger than the size of your hand. Good tires improve grip, reduce braking distance, and provide stability in both dry and wet conditions. Driving comfort is another important factor, and that's where the suspension system makes a huge difference. As you travel over bumps, potholes, and uneven roads, the suspension absorbs shocks while keeping the tires firmly connected to the road surface. Without it, every drive would feel rough, uncomfortable, and much less safe. Of course, staying on the road also requires precise control. The steering system allows the driver to guide the vehicle accurately in every situation. Modern power steering systems make turning effortless, while providing excellent control at both low and high speeds. Meanwhile, the engine generates an enormous amount of heat every time it operates. Without an effective cooling system, temperatures would rise rapidly and cause severe engine damage. The radiator, water pump, coolant, and cooling fan work together to maintain the engine's ideal operating temperature, allowing it to perform reliably for many years. Fuel is another critical ingredient. The fuel system stores gasoline or diesel inside the fuel tank before delivering it through pumps, filters, and injectors directly into the engine. Modern fuel injection systems precisely control the amount of fuel entering each cylinder, maximizing performance while improving fuel efficiency and reducing emissions. Many people have never heard of the alternator, yet it quietly performs one of the most important jobs inside the vehicle. While the engine is running, the alternator continuously generates electricity. It recharges the battery and powers every electrical system in the car. If the alternator fails, the battery will eventually run out of power, leaving the vehicle unable to continue. Inside the engine, another hidden hero keeps everything perfectly synchronized. The timing belt, or timing chain, ensures that the crankshaft and camshaft rotate in perfect harmony. This precise timing allows the engine's valves and pistons to move together without colliding. If this component fails, the engine can suffer catastrophic internal damage that may cost thousands of dollars to repair. After fuel is burned, the resulting gases must safely leave the engine. The exhaust system carries these gases away, while reducing harmful emissions and lowering engine noise. Components like the catalytic converter help minimize pollution, making modern vehicles cleaner and more environmentally friendly than ever before. One final component deserves recognition: the differential. Although many drivers rarely think about it, the differential allows the left and right wheels to rotate at different speeds when turning corners. Without this ingenious mechanism, every turn would place enormous stress on the tires and drivetrain, making the car difficult to control. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, it's incredible to realize that a modern automobile depends on thousands of precision-engineered components, working together every second, from the powerful engine to the tiny timing chain. Every single part contributes to your safety, comfort, and driving experience. Regular maintenance isn't just about preventing breakdowns. It's about protecting the systems that keep you and your passengers safe every time you get behind the wheel. The next time you start your car, take a moment to appreciate the remarkable engineering hidden beneath the hood. Every drive is made possible by countless parts, working together with extraordinary precision. Which of these car components surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed learning something new today, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more fascinating engineering stories.